The Araucania region of south-central Chile looks peaceful enough until you see these bullet holes and the graffiti claiming these rural lands as autonomous territory of the native Mapuche people. Alejo Aparaíz shows us some of the more than 60 timber transport trucks recently burned by armed men wanting to expel large forestry companies from what they consider ancestral Mapuche land.
These people are criminals. They're using the Mapuche cause to legitimize themselves and commit acts of terrorism.
A centuries-old conflict is accelerating, with armed groups burning farmhouses, trucks, forests, and even churches, especially in this election year. Mapuche leader Fidel Tranamil was one of 8 men accused of taking part in the arson attacks. He was released from prison a few weeks ago for lack of evidence, but makes no apologies for the violence.
I think all the different types of struggle are valid because it's legitimate to fight to recover our land and our liberation as a people. We were here as a nation before Chile existed.
Chile's state has been gradually buying land to return to the Mapuches under a law that has proven unsatisfactory for all involved. Special Forces police escort us to a farmhouse under 24-hour protection. 76-year-old Arsoindo Bascur and his wife Rosenda say they can't leave the perimeter without this special gear. And despite constant attacks, they say they can't sell the property because the state won't pay them enough to buy elsewhere.
Is this a way to live? There's no justice for us. But the Mapuches are supposedly the victims. What about us? Aren't we human?
The government's response has been to apply an anti-terrorism law. This is one of the bullet holes from the latest attack against the Bascur's home, which entered their bedroom. Chile's controversial anti-terrorism law was created by this country's former military dictatorship to persecute those who wanted to overthrow the regime. But the big question is, should that law be used today to address the violence taking place in southern Chile? International human rights organizations condemn it as abusive, others as ineffective because it makes convictions more difficult to obtain. SERGIO CATRILAF spent 19 months under preventive detention, accused of setting fire to a farmhouse in which a Chilean couple was burned alive. He and 10 other Mapuche leaders have just been acquitted.
Labeling us terrorists is a strategy to get us out of circulation because it allowed them to get me out of the way, for example, for more than 2 years.
But CATRILAF says he won't be intimidated. He represents a new, more emboldened generation of Mapuche leaders demanding the recovery of ancestral lands and regional autonomy, a situation some liken to the Catalonia conflict, and a controversy that Chile's next government cannot afford to keep ignoring. Lucia Newman, Jazeera, in the Araucania region, Chile.